We are live on the Believe in Monsters podcast. It's another Tuesday hanging out with the guys. You're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. The Believe in Monsters podcast is a proud part of the Believe Network. We are Lucas Berry, Chris Krogman, and myself, Joe Gaither, and we're here to get into free agency. We know, if you're listening to this right now, you're upset with the Bears in one way or the other, but we're here to get you through it. We're here to talk you through what Ryan Poles is really working. He's got some things going on behind the scenes. We've signed 4 free agents. The new stadium twists and turns continues on the saga, and that's what our episode will be tonight. We're going to be a therapist. We'll walk you through, is Justin Fields really on the trade block? Is it a lock for Caleb Williams? Is he waiting on Caleb Williams' medical to trade Justin Fields? What the bleep? And the market's gone? No. Calm down. And we'll talk you through our 4 free agent signings and who else is left on the board. Can anyone help this team? Before we get into it, Chris Krogman, how we doing?
Oh man, what an entrance! I'm fine. My mental health is fine. I have a full-ass time job. I have 2 small children. I have 2 puppies. I am too busy to care about all of this drama. I'm not mad at the Bears. I used to be this way. I watch Twitter and I just look back at how I used to get so mad. Oh my God, what is he doing? Fire Ryan Poles. Oh, he brings in one person. Oh my God, he's elite. What a great GM. Oh my God. No, I just don't have the energy for it anymore. I'll still be watching football on Sundays. I'll still be rooting for whatever guy is taking snaps. But I'm great, Joe. Elberry 40. What's up with you?
I'm great as well. I mean, I am on top of it. I've been following it, but I mean, after seeing Ryan Poles operate for now, 3 years, it's kind of
par for the course.
Yeah, exactly. Par for the course. I don't know why these people thought this year would be different. I understand the quarterback situation is going to be different, but this is just Ryan Poles' MO. And he's shown us what he wants to do, and he showed us how he's going to do it. And, sometimes when someone shows you who they are, you should probably believe them. And I think his emphasis on free agency mostly has been, we can say he doesn't like to spend, huge dollars, which last year we saw him obviously spend huge dollars on a linebacker. But I think more so he doesn't spend on premium positions in free agency is what he's shown us over 3 years. Almost all the players he ever brings in are role players in free agency. I don't think he'll sink money into a top quarterback, for example, or cornerback or edge rush or anything like that. So.
All right, so let's get right into it. The first thing we should talk about is probably let's work out the Justin Fields and where everything is on that stuff. This is the 3rd podcast in a row that we have expected Justin Fields to be moved, just like you expected Justin Fields to be moved to the Falcons, to the Steelers, to the Vikings, to whoever the hell cares, to the Raiders, pay us anything. But it seems like Justin Fields' market is not there, or who was it? Ian Rappaport? Yeah, Rappaport reported that Ryan Poles was not or had not really been actively shopping Justin Fields quite yet, and Bears Twitter absolutely exploded. Lost their minds. We've seen Mac Jones be traded from the New England Patriots to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 6th-round pick. We've seen Russell Wilson signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers for what, $1.5 million, making the Broncos pay him all a lot of money, and then we've seen Kirk Cousins move to the Atlanta Falcons. So the quarterback market is moving. Cousins signed a pretty good little deal. So the quarterback market's moving. Come on, guys. Did you really? I'm kind of thinking about this right now, actually, because I wasn't worried about it. I was like Chris Krogman, not really caring about. Well, if he gets traded, it'll be fine wherever he goes. 7th-round pick, it doesn't matter. But as I'm thinking about it here, is it disappointing for Ryan Poles? Yeah, a little. But is it that big of a deal? Is it burn down Twitter big of a deal? No. And does it mean that Justin Fields is going to be your quarterback next year? Maybe. I'm going to throw it to Lucas Berry, who threw out an interesting proposition last week or the week before about Justin Fields being on this roster next year, and the Bears drafting Caleb Williams anyways. Basically, Lucas, take that victory lap as that looks more likely today. Maybe not quite likely, but more likely. And then let us know what you're feeling about this whole development with Ryan Poles and his who's on the block and who's really trading Justin Fields, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, heading into the combine, we're all like, this is where Ryan Poles gets his deal done, yada, yada, yada. And we were fully expecting Fields to be traded by the new league year. But as more reports came out closer to free agency, we had the Diana Rossini sit down with Hogan Johns. And she was basically like, the quarterback market is too strong right now for Fields to get traded in, which we alluded to last week. You got Russell Wilson on the move. You got Kirk Cousins. You have playoff caliber quarterbacks going to different locations. So obviously Fields is kind of a second option in that market. But then also you have, heading into the draft, you have potentially 4 quarterbacks who are projected to go top 10. It just makes a pretty messy situation overall. And then you even saw some backup level or bridge quarterbacks go in free agency ahead of Fields. You had Jacoby Brissett going back to the Pats. You had Gardner Minshew signing a 2-year deal with the Raiders. So right now there is only a handful of teams. Drew Lock today went to the Giants. So you truly only do have a handful of teams who are still suitors for Justin Fields. But I think the bigger market here, or the bigger play here, Joe, is that sure, maybe Ryan Poles overshot his hand, or, really you're saying, speaking from the minds of someone on Twitter, just get rid of him, get a 7. Like, you don't want the Mac Jones trade for him. If you think you can get a 2nd or 3rd round pick at some point by just being patient, then you have to hold him and do that, because that's what's best for the franchise, right? You're not just going to get rid of him because, we have Caleb Williams coming in and we're afraid of this and that, the other will happen. No, these guys are grown NFL players. This is their job. They have to be able to coexist in this kind of environment, right? And Ryan Poles has to do what's best for the Bears. So as mad as it makes us that Fields is still on this team, if it is a possibility that he gets traded later down the line, so they have to hold him, then so be it, right? And today, I think what eased my mind more on this situation was Adam Schefter coming out and giving the Josh Rosen example, where they were going in to draft Kyler Murray, and Josh Rosen didn't get traded until day 2 of the draft that year, right? So really, Fields might be some team's backup plan, but if they strike out in the draft and in free agency and they're left stuck, you're going to have some desperate people at the end of the day. So at this point, it probably is in the best interest of Ryan Poles to hold on to Fields until he feels he can get adequate value. But I will say, Joe, my idea, jokingly, I was one of the first advocates of saying Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. This was months ago, and I said it jokingly, half jokingly, in jest, but here we are. Definitely a possibility.
Doesn't make it a good idea. Does make it a good idea. Like, here's the other. Here's like, oh man, you're gonna have such a locker room of division. Like, that's gonna cause, and like, oh my god, I will have to take Twitter off my phone. Like, I will not be able to stand a whole offseason of both of them on the same roster, let alone.
Will you have a roster division if Caleb Williams proves himself to be a whole lot better than him in fall camp?
I mean, according to, they asked Jalen Johnson about this, and I'm pretty sure Jalen said something to the effect of, we're all pros. This is our job to figure this out. Like,
speaking of
kept
which,
him around.
Can we talk about him? His problem with pros? He likes the pros in different area codes, my understanding.
Yeah.
Hello. Man, were him and Roquan, like, was he the one who was really sad that Roquan left? Because he was like, oh man, there goes all the pros.
That was his running mate.
That was his
buddy.
Well, at least Jalen got his well-deserved contract.
Put his sexual addiction behind him. Well done.
Yeah, it's good. Good for him. Actually, you know what? Honestly, like,
well done.
Yeah, good for him. It is a problem.
It's a weird thing to bring up.
Yeah, as the first thing you're gonna say straight out the gate, like, "Hey, happy I'm in Chicago." By the way, I I really, really have a problem. Yeah, no, let's just move on.
Hey, at least he admitted it and was mature enough to admit it.
So,
Tear
yeah,
down.
this quarterback situation, like there was never. People were always going to let it shake out. They were always going to let it see what they could get for free, more or less. You know, you had to give up some amount of capital for Fields. Cousins is a proven commodity. Brissett is a proven stopgap for Jaden Daniels or Drake May. I don't know what are the Giant. Is Danny Dimes still on the Giants roster? I feel
Yes.
like
He
I
is.
saw
Yes.
some crazy shit that he got cut. Okay.
No, that was
So,
There's a
that fake account.
tweet, yeah, that says, "Oh,
man, fake news got me. Oh man, no, I'm kidding. So I the one I'm tripping on is what the hell is Denver gonna do?
Yeah, they're kind of in a holding pattern. I mean,
Not that I think Fields fits there at all.
well, the only quarterback kind of left in this carousel is Jimmy Garoppolo, who the Raiders are going to be cutting. So I don't know if that is the Broncos guy, but I mean, currently heading into the draft, you're kind of left with the Broncos not having a starting quarterback currently. And I mean, the Vikings just signed Sam Darnold. So really, those two teams heading into the draft are really kind of hurting at starting quarterback. And then you have whoever else at the top of the draft. And then otherwise, you're probably looking at sending Fields somewhere to be a backup.
Backup.
But I have heard some decent ideas. I mean, if Fields were to be a backup for like Anthony Richardson or like that makes sense.
It says totally makes sense.
Yeah, or like send him to Philly to back up Jalen Hurts. Like one of these mobile quarterbacks. I mean, Philly really makes sense, especially like they're trying to win a Super Bowl. You know, you add a quality backup like that who fits your offense well. I mean, that makes a ton of sense. But again, what are they going to give you for him if he is just a backup?
Where'd the OC for Philly go? Did he get a head coaching job?
I think he became an OC somewhere else.
I mean, anybody that wants to have that type of system, I think, would be interested in a Justin Fields type.
I think Seattle's interesting too because they don't really fully know what they're doing with Geno.
You know what I think super interesting? Freaking Chargers.
with Harbaugh.
That's a wild one.
Dude, well, everybody and their mom was like, "Oh yeah, bring the whole gang back, get Harbaugh and Greg Roman and Justin Fields will run for days." Well, just ship him off to LA and there you go. I know they got Justin Herbert.
Wasn't it Brett Coleman who said that his gut feeling was Seattle with no information a day or two ago?
Well, there's a few people have been coming out and saying Seattle.
Yeah, I've heard that. But like, so where's that leave Geno? Like, or is it? Or for a backup?
He's going to be a backup.
Okay.
Well, they didn't say that this year, but they were basically like the future with Geno is kind of uncertain.
Sure.
Well, he only signed a 2-year deal, right? Like,
right. And I think they could have like released him or something this year, but they didn't.
What I understand about the Fields drama, or from a team perspective, from a team needing a quarterback's perspective, there's like everybody's like, "Oh, you got to sign him to the 5th-year option and pay him that $25 million." What's to keep you from doing like a Jordan Love type deal, where you just give him something less, be like, "Hey, here's a prove it $18 million deal or $20 million deal, now pay that full fifth-year option." And do that. I mean, you got to have some amount of confidence that he can do something. I don't know.
If they didn't have the number 1 pick, I would say that makes sense. But in this
scenario, I don't mean them. I mean another team.
Oh, I see.
But if another team's paying that, then they're not viewing him as a backup, really.
Right.
Don't you see potentially? I mean, I don't know what the dead money would be, but don't you see the Bears probably given a little bit in that area?
What are you asking?
There wouldn't be any dead money because he'd go through his 4th year.
Yeah. Now, hold on. Let's just.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I just think this year's quarterback kind of carousel in the offseason is way too crowded for a guy like Justin Fields. And it's like I said, it is very bad timing just because, in other years, say this was the Kenny Pickett year and he's the number one quarterback getting drafted at 20 whatever overall, some team would probably pay a premium to get a Justin Fields instead of going into that, but going into a draft with, that many good quarterbacks and then this many available quarterbacks in the market who are playoff caliber, kind of just sucks for the Bears and for Fields. But like I said, I think Poles waits this out and does what's best for the team.
So you're thinking now that the expectation is to get a 2025 draft pick for him instead of this coming up spring.
Maybe it depends. I mean, I could see them taking this all the way up to draft night, but
because Rosen was traded for the second rounder that year, right? It wasn't.
I'm pretty sure, yes, on day 2. But teams are going to see what happens that day too. So, or teams are going to have
day
to
also,
yes, day 1 also.
Before they make the
move.
All right. Jordan Love signed a 1-year, $13.5 million extension for that year 5. So you could do something like that with Fields if you traded for him. And I'm not saying give up the farm for him, but if you could do a third and then negotiate a 1-year extension and then have him for year 4, year 5, just to see what you got. I think that if you could work, if I was a team trying to acquire him, I'd want to figure that out ahead of time, obviously, but.
We can talk about this. We can talk about this till we're blue in the ears, but again, it's not our decision. Your ears aren't blue yet, thankfully.
Patience, everybody, patience. It's gonna
be reading about this every day on Twitter, but we just have to see what happens. We have 40-something days till the draft, and we'll go from there.
You want to talk about the new Bears?
New Bears, baby.
New Bears. Kevin Byard
was
the first new Bear on our list because I think that he was the first new Bear signed safety. He played in Tennessee. Didn't he
played in Philly last year?
Philly, yes. So he's been all over the place.
He had a down year. He had a down year last year, but we also don't know if that was because Philly's defense was a wreck.
Coached by Matt Patricia.
Right.
Get away from Matt Patricia and see what happens. But he's basically the Eddie Jackson replacement. We like it. Chris Krogman.
Yeah, somebody posted some sort of rating system, some sort of numbers. And Byard smoked Eddie Jackson in everything. Probably not the best tackler on the planet, but we're used to that. So he's a free safety. He's a center fielder, free safety, which is fine. That's fine. It's a pretty good, probably a good stopgap to whatever's next for free agents or not free agents for a young guy, whether that's Hicks or probably not Hicks. I mean, if he was going to get a shot, he would probably get a shot.
Well, it gives you makes it not as much of a need coming up in the next couple of weeks for the draft. Barry, we feeling good about Kevin Byard?
Yeah. So when it first happened, I was like, okay, I'm a little bummed out. It kind of makes me a little upset when I see these insiders and they're like, Kevin Byard, all pro. I'm like, former all pro. That was 3 or 4 years ago, but sure, whatever. But anyway, I mean, the dude's he's older than most of the Bears secondary. So when it happened, I was like, yeah, he's overrated, blah, 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 blah. But then, obviously you always have to see what happens before you make your judgments. Xavier McKinney's getting paid $18 million a year by the Packers. And I'm like, yeah, no, thanks. I'm totally happy with Kevin Byard for whatever, 7.5.
2 years,
and then
15 mil. Yep.
And then you look at the Bears roster, right? And they're all puppies back there. I mean, they're all 23, 24 years old. You need that veteran leader. And Byard is that dude. So truly, in all facets, a good Eddie Jackson replacement, a great mentor. And I do think he is better than what we had in Jackson. So, yeah, fine with it. I thought they would go elsewhere at safety. I thought they'd maybe stick with the younger theme, but I get it. Having that voice back there is huge. You get them young guys in place and being a leader on that defense. So
young pups.
Would love
they
it.
Are, man. I think the oldest one is Jalen at 24.
Let's go next. New Bear is a running back, DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift got 3 years, $24 million, and he comes in to serve as bye-bye Dante Foreman, obviously, but he comes in to work with. Is he running back one over? I'm drawing a blank.
He's going to be the Bears' Kenneth Walker in this offense.
Okay. Well, I love an $8 million average annual value, and I'm sure that I haven't looked at the contract for the second and third year, but I bet you there's some team options right there. Ryan Poles keeps things, a little on the cheap because as we compare to Josh Jacobs, we compare to our Packers brethren with the last signing. Josh Jacobs got $12 million average annual value. Now, the Packers did do well having just the $12 million guarantee right up front with team options on the back end, but that's the running back market. He set it at $12 million average annual value. DeAndre Swift with $8 million. Chris Krogman, we're ready to go swift as the wind down the field.
I love DeAndre Swift. Like Lucas took him in our fantasy draft like 2 years ago, and I was like, that's concerning. He's solid. He's a good player. And then Detroit just didn't want to use him very well. And I thought Philly used him great last year. I thought he's super talented. I'm very happy with this pickup. So yeah, I'm beyond happy. And Khalil Herbert is the name that escapes you.
That's what I was looking for.
If we didn't get that out. It's kind of disappointing that Roschon didn't show out a little bit more last year, but that's okay. He's a rookie. So
I think they're now this. I feel like they're still very trusting of him to develop into a good pass blocker because this is something that both DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert are not very good at. So I do think they have faith in Roschon to be able to protect on third down and be in there on third down when he has to be. But I'm with you, Krogman. I'm never team pay the running back. I was never the guy that wanted, Barkley or Jacobs for more than $10 million a year. Obviously, Swift, you see the annual value of 8, and you're like, all right, that's a little steep. But look at dig a little deeper into the contract. You see the guaranteed value is only $15 million. So, if you're only averaging $5 million a year guaranteed, not a bad deal, all things considered.
Just signed Derrick Henry to $10 million average.
Right.
So
right, and he's 30 plus, or going to be 30 soon. Not the Raiders, the Ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah. I do like this deal a lot, though. I don't know. He gets a bad rep in the league. I don't know why. I agree with Chris. I feel like he's been underutilized at all of his stops in Detroit. He would break off all these massive runs, and then they would reward Jamal Williams to plunge it in from the one. And I'd be all mad just because I've always liked DeAndre Swift a lot. Yet another one of the people I played in high school along with Ryan Bates. So showing out from my high school football league. So.
Lucas Berry had a dozen tackles on DeAndre Swift, forced 2 fumbles.
Yeah,
I wish you didn't get a hand on that dude. Did you play defense at all, Lucas?
I did. Yeah, I played linebacker.
Did you get a hand on DeAndre Swift at all?
To be honest with you, he actually was it was when he was a freshman and he wasn't the full-time starter. He did like a lot of like gadgety stuff.
No wonder Detroit never uses him. He's never been used right since he was in high school. Nuts.
So
nuts. The reason I joke around is because I played against this dude that I don't even think he went to college, but he was freaking ridiculous for a high school running back, and he was a track star. I got a hand on that dude once, and it almost broke my hand. It hurt. It was rough. So I can't imagine like a real NFL player freaking trying to run past me. I'd be like, "Here's your lane, Mr. Swift. Have a good day."
Now the best player in our league was Zaire Franklin from the Colts. He was by far the best player.
Zaire Franklin. Yeah, I told you I played against Todd Heap. I was about the peak of my
Heapster.
Played against.
The views are flowing in. We're at 100 people watching.
One Hondo.
Well, while the 100 people are watching, we're about to talk about Gerald.
Joe's about to give away $100 for every person that's watching.
$100 to the next person that retweets the stream. You can find my Venmo. You can send it to me. $100 for you to retweet it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. But no, for real, you can check us out. Believe in Monsters podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate everybody watching us tonight. Gerald Everett Gerald Everett gets signed to, where did I just see it? 2 years, $12 million. And Lucas Berry was talking about him before we started getting rolling. He has a very special connection with Shane Waldron.
Yeah, the more I dug into this, the more I was like, wow, Jared Everett really makes sense for the Bears in that U tight end role. He kind of complements what Cole Kmet does really well. He's a very good receiver. And he's been with Shane Waldron between 2017 and 2021, spent 4 years on the Rams with Waldron before following him to Seattle. And then he went to the Chargers for a year or two, and now he's here again with Waldron. So I know some people made the connection, but not too many. And I thought that was just fascinating. I didn't realize he spent 5 years with Waldron previously, and that Waldron actually began in LA as a tight ends coach. So the fit makes sense. They obviously have a relationship, and typical Ryan Poles signing, 2 years, $12 million for a second tight end, right up his alley.
We gotta get one thing straight though. When Gerald Everett gets signed, and Krugman, this is thrown to you. Our friend Raul Bennington, he took an unnecessary shot, and you can find him at black_42 on the X machine. He said, oh, great. Now Cole Kmet can play his natural position of left tackle. Get the bleep out of here. Cole Kmet has become a good player in this league. He started off a little clunky, but he has developed into a real good tight end. And the contract they signed Cole Kmet to, third, fourth week of the season? It was early in the year, right? They signed him to a contract extension that now that a lot of these numbers have come in over the last day and a half, 2 days, that looks really nice. Krugman, we're not going to let that slander fly, are we?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no way, dude. His natural position is obviously a wide tight end, and Gerald Everett can be the U tight end, and that's fine. Yeah, Cole Kmet's a great blocker, though. He's making some silly ass QB school jokes. That dude has a hard on for Cole Kmet.
I think Cole Kmet's like a classic tight end. He looks like, a tight end that you would dream up in Madden 1999, but a pretty good one. So, I like what he's developed into. Lucas Berry.
Is he a tight end you would want your daughter to date?
I don't have a daughter, but right now, yes, he seems like a nice man. He seems like a good young man, hard worker, Chicago boy. I think he's a nice young man. And by the way, we got to correct ourselves in pre-show. It's not Jesse Owens. It's not Jesse Owens. It's Mr. Simone.
Jonathan.
It's Owens. Jonathan Owens. Jonathan Owens, who is our last signing, and he was announced, 30, 40 minutes ago. Really a couple hours ago, Simone Biles was twerking on Twitter for the Chicago Bears, and we appreciate that. That makes us, Chris Krugman, the most patriotic team in the NFL because we have Mr. Simone Biles, but he gets signed to 2 years, $4.5 million off the Green Bay Puke and Piss. What do you think about adding to the defense? Now, look, against the 49ers, last play, as 49ers are coming down the field, he got his ass burned. So we'll have to work on that, but welcome to the good guy side. Cheap deal for Jonathan Owens.
He's better than Elijah Hicks.
I wish we got Jesse Owens.
Me too. Dig up his grade. Dig him up and let's put him in a uniform.
Hey, it could happen. It could be a thing. It could work. I have nothing other than seeing Simone Biles on the sidelines. That'd be cool. Isn't he one of these special teamers? Probably be 2 years, $4.5 million.
He'll be a nickel player.
I think he'll play the Elijah Hicks role.
Yeah,
left out.
Out. He'll go in there, and you have to have him in there.
20% of the defensive snaps or so, something like that.
Ooh,
not a
that
heavy
feels like
hitter.
a lot. Feels like a lot. Dude.
The big thing that he's way better at than Elijah Hicks is tackling. So I think the Bears prioritize the fundamentals. Fundamentals.
All right. So who's left on this free agent market? Who can we get? Danielle Hunter, didn't he already sign?
He signed a big deal tonight with the Texans. He got 2 years for $48 million, $49 million, 48 of it guaranteed. So pairing him with Will Anderson
that's going to be disgusting.
That's going to be gross. And then I'm imagining if they if they really wanted to be diabolical, they could go put the kid from Illinois there as their defensive tackle. And, good luck.
But your man, Greenlee, right? Greenyard. He has
Jonathan Greenard. He
Jonathan?
signed with the Vikings.
Oh my gosh. What was his contract?
It was big. It wasn't
It was too rich for Ryan Poles.
I think it was kind of what he was projected.
It was 4 for 76.
Yeah. Right around what I thought he was going to get like 18 million a year, so that's right.
Yeah, 19.
Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. And then obviously the Eagles signed Bryce Huff, so all the top edge rushers are off the board. We haven't seen too many receivers fly off yet, but we did see our man Darnell Mooney ink with the Falcons, 3 years, $39 million. And what nuts. What do you guys think of this? Do you think that is more so the wide receiver market we live in today, or do you think that's a big indictment on Fields? The fact that Mooney had 800 yards total-ish over the past 2 years.
What's wild to me is Gabe Davis got the exact same contract.
Right.
Dude. I think Gabe Davis is way better.
So they're valuing Mooney at a Gabe Davis level player who Gabe Davis's stats blow Mooney's out of the water. So do you guys think that speaks volumes to what the league thinks of Fields' play?
Yeah, I mean, think about how many times he threw his way and they just couldn't get connected. I mean, he almost stopped throwing it to him basically this past season, but all over the last 3 years, it's been maybe they'll connect. He had the one touchdown pass. Oh my gosh, 2 years ago, right? Where that was really like Darnell Mooney's first or second rate game. It was a wild touchdown reception or something in the end zone, but severely underutilized.
Now this kind of brings me to my next point, right? So the Falcons get Mooney. They've kind of filled out their offense with Cousins. They have Mooney. They have Drake London. They have Bijan. They have Pitts. It's a pretty good offensive core. Yeah. That makes it probably, in my mind, more likely that they will go defense with their first pick there at 8 overall, right in front of the Bears. Maybe Dallas Turner makes a little sense there. Fit-wise, I think he's a perfect fit for Atlanta. I guess my greater point to you guys is it's likely a wide receiver, one of those top 3 guys, falls to the Bears in the draft. But if things were like they were today heading into the draft, right, you still don't have that top tier second edge rusher or second receiver. Which position are you guys drafting at 9? Obviously, you don't want to draft for need, but if the Bears don't bring in a second edge rusher, I mean, what do you think?
You think Dallas Turner goes 8, you said?
Yeah, let's say in this hypothetical situation, Dallas Turner goes to the Falcons and Romo Dooms falls to the Bears at 9. And your choices are trade back / get an edge rusher or stay at 9 and get your receiver.
Trade back.
The roster is what it is today. Like your second receiver right now is Tyler Scott.
Trade back and get an edge rusher.
And so you're foregoing receiver again,
and you go for Brian Thomas. You kind of try to position yourself for Brian Thomas as the first round closes.
Well, shit. Keon Coleman also ran like a 4.6, and he's not a 4.6 player, dude. He's great. So Keon Coleman could easily drop to the top of the second. So if you can trade back and add a second and get
that's the other aspect to this right now. You don't have a second rounder.
Get like a Tatu Lutu or whatever that dude's name is from UCLA. Then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
I think you're in a position at 9 where you need to use it for depth more than the splash player. You've used number 1 for your splash player.
I think you need to add more splash players on offense because the Bears honestly have not done it enough. If it was up to me, I would say, whatever, fuck that second edge. You can live with it because you have a Montez Sweat and you have a better secondary. You got to do everything you can to make this work out if you take a quarterback at 1. So for me, it's a no-brainer to take a wide receiver, especially the top receiver on your board at that point, over trading back, trying to get all this other bullshit, and then settling for one of those other receivers or edge rushers.
You still have Chase Young out there. You got either one of your Chicago cast-offs from last year in Travis Gibson or where's the other one? Where'd the other one go?
I mean,
Rasheed Green.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them circle back to Derek Barnett, who we saw tied
Derek Barnett's out there.
to them, and they could also see if Josh Sweat gets cut from the Eagles because, it looks like the Philly might have to move on from him after signing Bryce Huff.
Is Carl Lawson really out there? Something happened that I missed. Is he hurt? Like, why?
He was a free agent. Yeah.
We were talking about him last year as a potential cap casualty for the Jets, and they didn't do it.
Right.
So would he be a possibility?
Sure.
I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with the idea, Lucas, and I don't think you're wrong. I do think they need more splash players. Should you go get Jadeveon Clowney, man? That dude's still
right now. They have a meeting with the dude from the Vikings tomorrow. The hell is his name?
Randy Gregory, man. There's so many defensive ends out there that are
but they're not like true second.
Just go get all of them, and we'll have like Augusta Silence for defensive ends.
Who can
make them compete?
Who can get around Braxton Jones?
Yeah, who can beat Braxton Jones, or who could beat Darnell Wright? Whoever wins.
They have a meeting tomorrow with DJ Wonnum from the Vikings, who had, I think, 8.5 sacks last year. I think DJ Wonnum would be very much in the same vein as a signing as DeMarcus Walker, like that type of DN that plays a ton of snaps. He kind of got lucky with some of his sack production. He just seems like he would fit well with what they want to do.
What about Emmanuel Ogbah?
Woo! I think he's been horrible from the Dolphins.
He's also 30. Carl Lawson's only 28.
It is kind of crazy, though.
Ngakoue only 28, which is wild.
Oh, by the way, Chris, did you see your boy Justin Jones got an absolute bag from the Cardinals?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I got beats, man.
He got paid, dude.
Y'all want to talk about bags?
$30 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3 for 30.
Okay,
have y'all seen what some of these like offensive linemen have gotten?
Dude,
like that dude that went to the Panthers got 5 for 100.
Yeah, Robert Hunt.
Landon Dickerson got paid like $72 million for the Eagles.
Yep.
This is nuts.
Roll Tide, Landon Dickerson. That's my man.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Dude, this is what happens when they triple salary cap. Everybody's let's just throw money out there.
The Bears cut Eddie Jackson. That's fine. I support that. But the Packers turn around and sign double Bama with Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs. Now, they spent a premium on them. But just for my sake, sorry, Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, you're dead to me. Oh, shit. I got to trade them off my keeper league. I got to trade Josh Jacobs now.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, it's crazy that all the NFC North running backs kind of swap places. The Bears have the X-line in Swift. Aaron Jones, the ex-Packers, now with the Vikings. Who else went elsewhere? Monty's with the Lions. Now we just need Dalvin Cook to come out of retirement and sign with the Packers, and then we have completed the quadra running back swap.
Please tell me we don't get AJ Dillon out of all that.
No, we
already got Swift.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
Well, he went. There was an Eagles buffer condom thing that I missed. My bad. I forgot.
You got one more topic in you guys?
Yeah, I do.
Stadium talk.
Now, this also links into free agency because I don't know how deep this rabbit hole you guys want to go down, but people are saying that the reason the Bears are not spending money is because they're saving up their cash for the stadium, which, I mean, let's be real. These owners do care about their wallets and their bottom line. So it is quite possible they're not shelling out the cash because cash and cap are different to sign some of these big name free agents for the stadium venture.
So is it a remodel or a renovation of Soldier Field, or is it a new stadium project on the lakefront? I
honestly don't know too much about this. Do you, Chris? Pretty sure it's a new project.
I think so.
I know dick shit, dude. This is the dumbest.
I know people.
I'm pretty sure it's a new project. Is what I
know. People are upset because they're going to be putting $2 billion toward the project, but they're still not going to own it. It's still going to be publicly funded.
Right.
So apparently, like, Minnesota doesn't own their stadium.
Chicago.
I don't think a lot of teams do.
Which I mean, I know a lot of stadiums get publicly funded, but like, so like I think SoFi was like the biggest stadium that was very heavily publicly funded, but like, don't the Spanoses and whoever owns Cronkies, don't they own
Cronkies of the Rams?
stadium?
Yep. I
See,
think they do. I think the Cronkies do, and
I
the Spanos do.
I think the biggest difference is having control over the stadium versus renting it from the park, where they make the decisions about the grass and what you can and can't do there. Whereas even if it's publicly funded, but the Bears are contributing X dollars and they're not renting it from the park district, I think that's the difference. But then here at the end of this, you obviously want to own your stadium so they can reap all that revenue and all that kind of stuff at the end of the day, which they're not going to be able to
who goes
doing
in
this.
there.
Yeah, right.
Well, this is why the McCaskies are like they're like house poor type people. They have a NFL franchise, but they don't get any benefit. Like they get paid on it and they can live off of it, but they're not rich, dude. These are the brokest owners in the league. That's why they probably can't even afford to build Arlington Heights.
That's the big pivot. Is like, they bought all this land. Are you just going to abandon it? Are you going to resell it back to somebody because you had all those tax codes issues in Arlington Heights, and basically a lot of the people that lived out there were like, bleep this, we don't want it. And so, are you we spent all that money on the land? Well, what are you going to do with that property?
Who cares? Is that really what we're here to talk about? I don't care. This isn't a real estate podcast.
Well, are you like? It is an asset for our team, an asset right now that as Lucas might have insinuated, and probably has some merit. An asset that has jacked up our free agency run this year.
I bulldoze it and build houses and sell them for. I mean, Illinois land goes for a shit ton. That's not far from Chicago, right?
No, it's like 45, right? And it's like 45 to an hour outside.
I think the Bears should turn that into like a punishment place for like players who don't listen to their coaches at practice. They just send them to Arlington Heights for like a week
and make them run the horse track. Run the horse track until you pant.
No, you gotta run the horse track like you're a horse, like on all fours.
With someone on your back, with the jockey on your back.
Go do bear curls. All the way around.
I don't know, Joe. That's actually Joe. In all seriousness, I don't. Now that you bring that up, I don't know if like maybe you might be onto something that maybe that did jack up their spending that they had to front. I
mean, maybe not.
Cash. I maybe not, but I'm just saying I think that is like a good something I haven't really considered before. Is like, oh, they had to pay money for this land. Perhaps that is sinking into their fund. I saw a stat that was like the Bears have been. I'm pretty sure they're literally last in the league in cash spending like over the past handful of years. Like legit dead last in the NFL, which is just, it's sad. I mean, we could talk all we want about Poles is doing this or that and not building through the draft, but like if you're literally last in spending, there's some kind of issue there.
Man, I grew up thinking like the Bears were like iconic, like royalty. It's not feeling that way. It's like we're like not much different than the Lions at this point, right? I mean,
but I'm also not team. You got to go sign Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney and Danielle Hunter. So like I don't even mind this strategy, but like the stats are the stats.
Bad
like
teams built through free agency,
right?
It's also just like it's a bad time to spend money. Like there's not that guy out there,
right?
Wouldn't you rather have re-signed Jalen Johnson than sign any of these free agents that
definitely, Joe?
Well, think about like what if they didn't have like
save your money for these contracts for your own guys?
You have Tevin Jenkins coming up. You're gonna have people that you want to extend coming up, and to not have to, scrounge up that money and find it in your couch cushion.
This will be year 3 of Kyler Gordon. If he plays well, I mean, you're talking about him too. Towards the end of the year.
Well, then that's Brisker too, right?
Oh gosh, Brisker's going to have to take a huge step. for me.
Man, the only thing Brisker that doesn't do for me is freaking stay on the field. Like, he's got some injury problems. But other than that dude plays his ass off. I got no problem with number 9. The only problem I got with Flappy Bird is Flappy Bird. I still don't understand what it is. If you keep me in and it's some sort of super cool thing, I'm about it, and I'll start running around my house doing Flappy Bird all day. But right now, it looks so stupid. I can't get it. If somebody in the comments wants to let me know what the hell Flappy Bird's about, let me know.
Is it a game that
Flappy Bird is in fact a game,
right? But like, is it a game that he plays? And
I'm gonna see if I can find it. What the hell is?
So
is it a dance move? It might be a dance. Look, I'm not up on the modern on a lot of the modern music. It might be a dance move.
I don't think it's a dance move.
Is it a TikTok dance?
No, it's definitely not that. While Chris is looking this up, let's bring this thing full circle here. Free agency so far, the Bears only signed a few people, right? Love it or hate it, it's what they did. DeAndre Swift is a Bear. Kevin Byard's a Bear. Owens is a Bear. And Jalen Johnson is still here. And Gerald Everett is a Bear. But we're heading into, day 3 of free agency. I think tomorrow's the actual first day of the league year when these contracts become official. What do you want to see the Bears do the rest of this free agency? Or is there one player you guys want to see them bring in? I'll start with you, Joe Gaither.
The thing that I would like the Bears to do is to utilize the second wave of free agency, be a part of the second wave. Obviously you saw Xavier McKinney. You've seen a lot of big contracts go through, and there will still be big contracts, but I don't have anyone specific that I'm after. We talked about Curtis Samuel last week, and I think
Tyler Boyd would be a great number 3 option if you could go out and get someone like that.
Would you pay him 3 for $39?
I don't know. I'm curious to see what these Mooney number. I'm curious to see what these contracts were. It was reported the Bears offered Gabe Davis the same deal the Jags gave him, and he chose Jacksonville because he wanted to go back home. And I think his deal was that. So
better tax rates in Florida.
I didn't hear that. That's interesting.
Yeah, the Bears offered Gabe Davis the same deal he got from Jacksonville, but he wanted to be closer to where he grew up. So,
dude,
I never liked Gabe Davis, so
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I brought it up before, last week when we were talking about before free agents. I like Hollywood, man. Hollywood Brown is my guy. He's a solid 2, great 3.
No, I agree. I don't know if he'll provide the blocking they want. That's my big thing about him, but it's not my choice to sign or not sign him. If they brought him in, I'd love it just because I know he'd bring
Cole
some
Kmet's here to
explosion.
block. Cole Kmet is here to block. Tyler Scott is not here to block. Hollywood Brown's not here to block. You can bring in big old Rome Odunze to block if you want. Or Keon Coleman. Those dudes are big.
Yeah, I think either Curtis Samuel or Tyler Boyd would be a nice addition to the Bears, and then
I don't hate
one of those rotational pass rushers, and I'd probably be happy. And I'd probably maybe also like to see them bring in another depth lineman. But it does, as of right now, it looks like Ryan Bates is probably your starter.
I was gonna say, do you think that center gentleman that Aaron Brewer already signed with Miami? Never mind.
Yeah, he did sign. I think the best center out there is Connor Williams from Miami, but he tore his ACL last year.
What about Brian Allen?
Brian Allen too, yeah.
Man, that's
Oregon center.
They really like that. There. They really like that fella. That fella over there, Master Bates.
Whoa.
Y'all ever seen the movie The Toy? You ever heard of the movie The Toy? Oh man, it's an old Richard Pryor movie. I just aged myself a bunch, but that's okay. I don't mind it. I'm the grandpa on this show. Yeah. So I'm good with those options: Lucas, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel, Hollywood Brown. The defensive end from Carl Lawson, I'm on board with. I'd even give Chase Young some money, like especially if it's like a 1-year deal.
What about DJ Wonnum?
I don't know who DJ Wonnum is, dude. His entire career is against Justin Fields. Like all of his numbers are against us. That makes me feel not good.
It's not a good
DJ Wonnum is the fellow that crushed Fields from the blind side on the first play of the game when we played the Vikings.
Like, that's great, dude, but I can make that hit because Justin Fields could identify it.
No idea it was coming.
No clue. No clue, bro. Like, it's all good.
Unblocked.
Unblocked. Unlooked at. Unchecked, too. Unslide protected that way.
They'll definitely – I mean, honestly, now with Justin Jones signing elsewhere, I mean, they do need kind of another D tackle, too, in there somewhere.
Jerez Newton.
Who?
Trade back from 9.
Johnny Newton. Dude, if we trade back and take a defensive tackle, I will literally rip whatever hair I have left out of my head.
Trade back twice. Trade back from 9 to 12.
Weren't they looking at 15? Weren't they looking at DJ Reader?
They were, yeah.
Then 15 to 19, and then strike in the 20s.
Well, this is wave 3 of free agencies where Ryan Poles strikes.
We'll have to find out.
We're not quite in wave 3 yet, but that's his golden hour.
Ooh, Armon Watson's back out of there.
Oh, you know what? An interesting name is Eric Armstead, who the 49ers released. That would be an interesting 3 technique for the Bears.
Yes, it would.
And, I mean, he's pretty similar body build to Eberflus's boy there in Indy, Buckner. Armstead's a big dude.
Nice. That would be a nice move.
Would be a nice move.
Where is he? Like, why is he not listed yet?
Who, Armstead?
Yeah, he's not listed on Spot Track.
Because I don't know, because they recently released him probably, so they probably don't have a projection for him.
I wonder if he's listed as a defensive end, and that's why.
Oh, maybe. Well, that's all I got for today. I mean,
anything else for you, Chris Krogman, on this wonderful Tuesday evening?
No.
Well, we'll be back to talk to you next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at some point.
And I want to see all 160 people back here next week.
Absolutely. Come talk some Chicago Bears with us in the comments at BIM_pod. You can leave a comment on the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts right there in the comments section. Subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell a friend about it. We are the Believe in Monsters podcast on the Believe Network. We'll be back next week to talk some Chicago Bears. And until then, we'll leave you with bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears. And let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois, Chicago Bears.
Bear down.